Hey, what up everyone, this is Mondo All Day, back with another video, and in this video I'll be doing a build guide for Loki. I'll be going over which artifacts I use, which uniques and medallion, as well as go over the powers, talents, and traits of the hero synergies, and at the very end show you my rotation and kind of give you some tips and pointers as far as how I was able to pass Cosmos Trial with Loki with this particular build without using any infinity points. So let's get right into it. So the first artifact we're going to look at is Sinister's Diamond. I'm using this for what it does is when you have both area and mental procs activated at the same time, gain 1 point to all attributes. Again, that's really good because he is very durability and intelligence. So having the extra two extra points on those, it's really good. Sorry about that. And plus, this artifact grants you, when you hit with the area damage, you gain critical damage rating and +1 energy. But also, when you hit with the mental power, gain, brutal damage rating increase and intelligence for 10 seconds. So that's pretty decent as well too. And this grants defense rating. And I definitely want the defense rating because this is a melee build. This is almost like it's a paradigm of various builds. I mean, I have melee / range / summons / mental. So this is really good. So having that defense though is really good for him. Next, I'm using Scroll Nick Fury's eye patch. I'm using this for the health increase, intelligence increase, defense rating increase, damage rating to bosses, and durability. Then I'm using Medallion of the Dark Dimensions. This is a bit hard because it took me a while for me to get this. So if you cannot get this, I would say try to obtain the Scroll Empire, one of the Scrolls medallion, the one that provides you intelligence. But I'm using this for the health increase, intelligence increase, dodge rating, +1 durability, and critical damage rating. So again, this is kind of hard to get. If you don't have this one, I would say just get the Cosmic Scroll Medallion. Then I'm using Ultron Cephalon Beam. I'm using this for the summon ally damage increase, +1 intelligence. When you hit with a power, recover 2 spirit, which is really good. And when you hit with a mental power, regenerate 20 health. Again, it's really good because he's all mental damage based, so that's really good. And then last but not least, the Book of Demonicas. Obviously, I'm using this for the +3 attributes to all. +3 points to all attributes. That's perfect because, as I mentioned, he's durability and intelligence. So that's 6 points. 6 times 4 is 24. So 24% just for this artifact alone. So it's really good. For the Forge, 800 defense, and have it blessed to where it gain 2 health and 2 spirit when you hit with an enemy. And also this increases your range damage and melee damage, as well as 20 XP. Maybe not the best blessing, personally. Either I would probably, with this particular build, I'll probably get a different blessing. I would probably get the blessing where it grants you +1 durability and defense rating increase. But that'll do for now. I'm using this mainly for the health increase and spirit recovery, but it'll do for now. Legendary, I'm using Neptun's Trident. I'm using this for the summon ally health and summon ally damage increase, critical hit rating, damage rating increase, and so forth. So again, this is a summon build, so this is really perfect for summon. For the ring, I'm using Bloodstone Demon Band. I'm using this for the damage rating to range powers, but also brutal strike rating, +1 intelligence, +1 durability, and defense rating. And then for uniques, these are all his uniques for here. These are all Loki's uniques. These are really good. Costume, I'm using Loki Siege costume. Catalyst, I have it to where we gain +2 intelligence, +2 fighting, not so much relevant, and +3 durability. And I have crafted affixes where I gain critical damage rating. And my visual is Falling Roses petals. There you go. Insignia, I'm using Insignia of Nick Fury. When you use your shield medikit, summon a shield tactical agent to fight alongside you for 30 seconds. Shield tactical support Aurora, when you use any power, you and your allies gain 20% summon ally damage and +1 intelligence. So that's really good especially for summoners. So if you have this and you have a summoner, I would definitely use this. It's going to help a lot. But also this insignia grants me damage rating to bosses and critical damage rating. And then for pet, I have it to where I take 1% less damage from enemy melee powers, 40 spirit increase, base damage to mental damage, +2 ranks to ultimate powers, and +2 fighting. So +2 fighting is not so much relevant, but if you can have a blessing to where either grants you +2 durability, or either durability or an intelligence increase, but it'll do for now, as I mentioned. Now for the powers, again, I'm gonna go over the powers. I'm gonna go from top to bottom, left to right, in terms of which powers I used. Spatial Deception, Cold Front, Permafrost Spikes, Graham, Overwhelmingly Blast, Cold Snap, Unyielding Power, which is signature, Light Beam, and that should be all. Yes. And then again, talents and traits to do that later. Again, no infinity points were used. And then hero synergies. Cable for the critical hit multiplier increase. Doctor Doom for the signature power increase. Doctor Strange for the mental damage increase. Ghost Rider for the critical hit rate into mental powers increase. Iron Fist with the mental damage increase and health regeneration. Rocket Raccoon for the summon ally damage, summon ally health. Rogue for the health on any hit, on one spirit on a hit. Squirrel Girl for the damage to bosses increase. Ultron for the summon ally damage increase and intelligence. And then Wolverine for the brutal strike and brutal damage increase. Now let's get into the talented traits. And so we will look into it. For the first row, the talent I use is Maker of Mischief. I'm using this for the summon ally damage increase, summon duration, and then maximum illusions +3, so you get more illusions. Plus also Cold Front creates one illusion at your departure location. Creating an illusion in this manner can only be performed once every 2 seconds. So Cold Front, which is this one right here. So basically it's my movement power, so whenever I activate my movement power, it grants a summon. And again, I want that trait because this talent is really good, because what this does is it not only a summoner per movement power, which is 3, but it grants me summon ally damage, and this is a summon build. It's a hybrid, but this is a summon build. So having this talent is really good because it's going to increase the damage to my summon. So yeah. Second row, the talent I use is Frost Nova. I'm using this because Asgardian Light transforms into Cold Snap, which is this one right here. So this power right here, and I'll show you how it looked like. That power transforms into Cold Snap. Cold Snap always critically hits, and enchants Graham with John. I can't even pronounce it, but John. Let's call it John. John magic. Also, this grants to all ice power damage 10%. While Graham is encharted with John magic, Graham, which is a power, and I'll show you guys in a bit, the damage is increased by 10%, and over otherworldly blast damage is increased by 10%. So basically, how this works, and many of his talents, they're pretty simple. They're just mainly buffs. They transform one power to another and grant you some kind of buff, either critical hit, always critically hits, or attack speed, move speed increase, or health regeneration, or whatever. So, well, you know what? Let me go over the talents really quick, and then I'll go over the rotation and kind of go over detail the powers. But basically, what it turns is Guardian Light, which is the power I just showed, which is this one, transforms into Cold Snap. See, and now it turns into that, and this power becomes an ice power. And again, it'll make sense when I go over my rotation. So that's that. The third row, I didn't use any of these powers, so I left it blank, as you can see. For this particular build, for my build, I didn't use any of these powers right here. So, fourth row, I'm using the talent Light Beam. I'm using this because Illusionary Projection, which looks like this one right here. Transforms into Light Beam. Light Beam is a range attack, and its summoned illusions. Its summoned illusions fight with ranged staff blast. Again, it grants you the same buffs as the other one, just a different type. As I mentioned, this one does John. This one does Asgardian. So again, a lot of the talents for Loki, they grant you different buffs. So, but again, I'm using this particular talent because I want, instead of wanting my summons to be melee, I want my summons to be range. It looks something like this. See, now they do range. And then last but not least, fifth row, the talent I'm using is Cold Front. So what this does is misdirection, which is this power right here, transforms into Cold Front. Cold Front does not apply stealth, but grants a damage absorption effect and deals damage to nearby enemies. And it's an ice power. So before it looked like this. It was invisible, but it didn't do any summons. Oh, it did actually, excuse me, with this. But now, Cold Front is this. It's not illusion, but it absorbs damage and as well as does damage. And it's also, it transforms into a cold power too. So, again, that's very, that's for the reason why I chose to use this, because I used a lot of his movement power. So I rather absorb damage as well as do more damage while I'm doing my movement power. And those are my talents and traits. So now let's get into the good stuff, as I usually say, aka the rotation. The rotation is really simple, but before I get into it, I'm going to go over in terms of how he plays, so to speak. As I mentioned not too long ago, that a lot of his powers are here, a lot of these talents, they're all buffs. So for instance, Frost Nova, as the ones I showed you, this particular power here, when you activate this talent, it transforms into a Cold Snap. Cold Snap, and I don't want to read the full thing, but basically transforms one power to another. But all of these powers right here, well, not all of them, but majority of them, when you activate the power that it transforms into, it grants a buff to 2 powers, which is Otherworldly Blast and Gram. Okay, Gram is this. Come on, why is he going? There we go. Gram is this one right here. Okay, so you notice how, look at his sword. You notice how there's nothing on there? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate. Oh, I can't do it. Come on, being a little punk. Okay, so I'm going to activate this this talent right here, Cold Snap, and you're going to see that his sword is going to turn to a different color, and it's going to get a buff. So here we go. See, now he has that. Now all I can do is do damage, and it increases the damage. Okay, again, that's basically what Loki is. So think of Loki like that. That when you transform a certain power and you activate that power, which again, originally this was this Guardian Light, now it turns into Cold Snap, and then when you activate Cold Snap always critically hits, according to this, as well as increases the power damage to ice powers. And while Gram is enchanted with John, you gain your damage is increased by 10%. So basically, when I activate Cold Snap, I not only do damage, not only does Cold Snap does critical hit, but also Gram, which is the power I just showed you, which is basically a sword. Which I'm gonna, again, look at his sword. Now look at it again. Now it's buffed. So when, according to this talent, when Gram is enchanted, the damage is increased by 10%. But here's the thing too. If you read over the power here, it tells you what it does even more. So apart from getting critical hit chance when you activate Cold Snap, but when you activate Cold Snap and you bless or you enchant, Gram with John Magic, it increases the critical strike chance by 15%. Okay, so basically what that means is when you activate a certain, just example right here, when you activate Cold Snap and you bless Gram with enchantment, that power gets it's a buff. And in this case, for having an enchantment of John, again I can't pronounce it correctly, but John, Gram's critical strike chance is increased by 15%. Okay, and then that's why I chose this particular power and a lot of his ice powers, because I wanted that critical strike chance. Okay, and And again, it's important to know because it's going to affect a lot for your gameplay and so forth. So each one of his enchantments are different. So for instance, here is another one right here. Where's another one? Oh, here. So Internal Flames. Again, Graham, when you activate this power, Internal Flames, Graham becomes enchanted with Musk Flame or whatever, right? Magic, triggering Flame Slash. So meaning that if I were to use Internal Flames and I activate it, Graham, Graham not only gets enchanted, but also gets enchanted with Musp. I'm gonna call it Musp. See what I mean? So, and it's important to know because depending on your build and depending on the blessing you want, it's gonna vary. Here's another example: Spirits of the Dead. Spirit of the Dead. When you activate Spirit of the Dead, well, actually, you know what? I'll show you guys how it looks like. So, the sword is nothing right now, so I'm gonna activate Spirit of the Dead. See, now he has a buff, but when you activate Spirit of the Dead, Graham gets enchanted with Hell Magic, restoring 210 health per hit. Okay, see what I mean? So why is that important? It's because you have to understand that, based upon your build and how you want to set it up, and depending on the buff you want to get, you can either do Hell or you can do Musp or John. I prefer John because I want that critical strike chance increased by 15%. That is just me and my personal choice. It's really up to you. And so, with that said, with all these talents, you might think it was only 3 of these powers. Why can't I? I'm a bit confused or something. But all you have to do is look at the talent, and then it changes. A lot of these talents here change to the particular one you're looking for. So for instance, let's just say you wanted pure Asgardian, right? All you have to do is look at which talent. Let's just say you like, I don't think there's even an Asgardian here to show you. Okay, I'll just transform one right now. Okay, perfect. Okay, so just an example. Permafrost Spikes, it grants Graham with John, which increases your critical strike, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Light Column talent. Is going to transform Permafrost Spikes into Hard Light Spike, and you'll see what it does. Okay, now it changed, but when I activate Hard Light Spikes, Graham becomes enchanted with Asgardian, which Asgardian buff increases at base attack speed by 20%. And again, hopefully doesn't sound very confusing or doesn't sound complex, but basically, whatever buff that you want for him, choose the powers that you want. Choose the powers. If, let's just say, for instance, if you wanted to transform a certain power, I don't need this, but
has his limits.
But let's just say you wanted to do all, for instance, for me, all of these enchantments are John. If you want to do all John, all you have to do is choose the talent that grants you John. Like, for instance, that transforms one power to another, that when that transformation occurs, you get that John buff and activate it on here. Like, for instance, hence why I chose Frost Nova, because without this, Asgardian Light grants me Asgardian buff, which increases the attack speed for Graham by 20%. But I didn't want that. I wanted John buff, which is a critical hit. So all I did is activate this power, transform one power to another. Now I have that buff. Does it make sense? So again, all you have to do is look at the powers, and then if you don't have enough of those powers that you want, just all you have to do is find which one transforms one power to another, or transforms one power to another that grants you the buff you want. Activate it, and if you like how the effects or whatever, then boom, there you go. Then that's your power. That's basically what I did. And all my powers here, all these powers that grant enchantment to Graham are John, meaning they'll get the critical strike chance. Again, if you prefer attack speed, then go for it. If you prefer Hell enchantment, which grants you health on hit, that's perfectly fine. But it's more accordingly to your gameplay style and your build. So for me, I rather get that critical strike chance. So hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully it's not really confusing. But again, when I first started playing with him, it's a bit weird, but hopefully it makes sense now. So let's just get into the rotation. And one thing before I continue on, and just to get two things out the way, a special deception. I use this basically. This is my main spender whenever I'm not using Graham, to let you know. And number two, otherworldly blast. What this does is when you cannot activate this until you activate another enchantment, meaning that you have to either activate another enchantment like right now, and then it gets available to use. And the good thing about this too is that when you activate otherworldly blast, the next enchantment power used within 15 seconds gains 100 damage, 100% damage increase. So for what does that mean is this: when you activate, you need to activate an enhancement. Wow, I can't pronounce it tonight. Enchantment in order for you to activate otherworldly blast. So this will show you what I mean. Now I have that, activate that, and if I activate another enchantment, damage is increased. The damage is increased by 100% because according to this buff here, otherworldly blast grants you a buff, which again, the next enchantment power used within 15 seconds gains 100% damage increase. So again, it's just a little keynote to know. So once that's taken care of, once that's all, with that said, let's go on to the build guide. So it's pretty simple. First thing you want to do is, obviously apart from moving, first thing you want to do is activate Cold Snap to get the ice damage, but also too so you can start using your otherworldly blast. So here you go, otherworldly blast, and from there you can start using Graham. If you do not have enough spirit for Graham, then start using deception, because deception does not consume any spirit, spirit. Okay, but the good thing about deception, and I highly recommend using this, especially for summon, is that this grants you summon damage by 20%, but also it summons your summon as well too, and then become melee. So all you have to do is activate deception, hit an enemy, and your summons start summoning. But again, first rotation simple, either one enchantment and then otherworldly blast. Doesn't matter, in any of the two. So let's just say that, and then start doing, get my summons out, and then start using Graham. And then from there, do the other enchantment. So it looks something like this. So let's say I was playing, all my summons are out, and then Graham. Other enchantment, and then otherworldly blast. Other enchantment. Otherworldly blast. Then do deception to keep the momentum going of my summons, and then enchantment, Graham, otherworldly blast, other enchantment, otherworldly blast, enchantment, otherworldly blast, and then deception. Okay, that's that. That's kind of like it sounds complicating, but it's not. It's pretty simple. It's just activate enchantment, otherworldly blast, and then use deception to get your summons out, or for me, get my summons out. When they're out, then start using Graham, and then do the rotation again. Enchantment, otherworldly blast, Graham to get that critical hit chance, and then do another enchantment, then blast, and then Graham. Alright, now the last one, not the last one, but, and then Light Beam. When do you activate that? Whenever you can. The good thing about Light Beam is that not only does it do quite a bit of damage, but it summons 3 of your summons. So that's really good because, and the range too. And so that's really good, because that way, if let's just say you're doing the first rotation, which is any enchantment, and then otherworldly blast, and then Graham, all you do is activate Light Beam, and then 3 summons are summoned. So it looks something like this. And there you go, that's 3. And I can just continue doing my rotation, like deception. I can even do it again. And then there it again, and then there you go. See? Those are all my summons. And they're all range 2. See? And that's really it, honestly. That's and then obviously signature, activate it whenever you can, and that's really it. Honestly, simple rotation. It's really very simple. I know it's a bit long. It's a long video, but I figured I'd rather explain to you guys the powers and talents and trade. Hopefully, it makes sense. But the build is really simple. Again, I repeat it as enchantment and then otherworldly blast. So that way, because you cannot activate otherworldly blast until you have an enchantment. So activate enchantment, any of them, and then otherworldly blast. The good thing about this is that when you activate otherworldly blast, you gain a buff, which the next enchantment within 15 seconds, you gain 100% damage increase. There you go, and then use Graham to get that enchantment, either critical hit chance or fire or hell, which increases your health, or the attack speed. So whatever it is, whatever bless the enchantment you decide to do. But the good thing about these powers right here, they grant you these buffs, is that they also increase the damage to not only Graham but otherworldly blasts. So that's always a plus. And that's really it. Again, this is really simple build and rotation. Mention enchantment, otherworldly blast. If you want to use light beam to get your summons out, or you can just move, or you can do combination of that as well too. Meaning you can do a light beam, do 3, and then movement power, and then that's 4 summons right there. And then just do enchantment, otherworldly blast, and then do a little bit of Graham, and then another enchantment, otherworldly blast, a little bit of Graham, and then use light beam, whatever it is. But the key thing to this particular build is keep the momentum of your summons up, because again, a lot of these items are summon ally damage, and so you have to keep the momentum of your summons up, because it's 6. Because the more you have summons out, the more they can do damage. Because according to my build, I have a lot of summon ally damage, and I definitely want here go 202%. So it's not so much, but it's pretty good. Yeah. Hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Again, this is a simple rotation, simple build. I hope it makes sense and it's clear to you guys in terms of Loki and how to play with them. If you have any questions, again, leave it in the comment section below. If this video was helpful for you guys, hopefully, if this video did help you guys out in terms of understanding more of Loki, leave it in the comment section below. If not, again, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll definitely, redo this build or this video to be more clear. I am doing this shortly after doing some studying and stuff, and so my head is kind of I have a lot of stuff in my mind right now. But anyways. Again, hopefully you guys like this video and this build guide for Loki. Simple, straightforward, and yeah. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. Any requests for certain characters, leave it in the comment section below. I know some of you have been asking for Juggernaut, Rogue. I have another one coming up this Wednesday, or tomorrow I should say. So I won't say who, but she's coming in should be uploaded the Cosmic Trial video tomorrow. But any requests for certain characters, leave it in the comment section below. If you want to keep up to date with the channel, please do subscribe to the channel, because not only does it help the channel grow, but also means a lot to me as well too. And that's it. This is my build guide for Loki. Any questions, again, leave it in the comment section below. And yeah, on to the next one. Bye bye.